Okay, sorry tadi apa nama ni, slide saya, bukan slide, internet connection saya putus. So saya record balik yang saya continue record ni. Okay, saya turn off kamera supaya tak lag. Okay, so now we can see here bioethanol feedstock. Basically, sugar containing feedstock, lignocellulosic material and starch material. Okay, bioethanol feedstock. We can produce bioethanol from agricultural raw materials such as sucrose containing feedstock. For example, sugarcane, sugar beet, sweet sorghum and fruits. Starchy material such as corn, wheat, milo, rice, cassava, sweet potatoes and barley. Lignocellulosic materials, for example, wood, straw and grasses. Currently focus on bioethanol production from crops such as corn, wheat, sugarcane, as well as highly abundant agricultural waste. So kalau kita tengok kat sini, apa soalan yang boleh tanyakan kepada diri sendiri, what is the problem if bioethanol production is produced from corn, wheat and sugarcane? Siapa boleh jawab soalan tu? Boleh fikir-fikirkan, okay? So here we can see lignocellulosic material for abundant, renewable, carbon neutral and available worldwide. So contoh macam jagung ni, kita boleh sebelum ditanam semula dia akan tebang dulu yang lama and then tanam balik semula. So yang ni akan abundant lah. Selalunya dia akan bersihkan dan bakar. So daripada kita bakar macam tu, baik kita guna as a bioethanol feedstock. Okay, so ni lignocellulosic biomass for biofuel. Kita boleh tengok macam-macam ada. Okay, kita fokus on dekat negara kita, palm oil industry. In Malaysia, we have empty fruit bunch about 15 million tons, palm kernel shell 8 million tons, mesocarp fiber 5 million tons, abundant and concentrated in the mill. So dia biar je berlonggok-longgok macam ni. So daripada kita biar macam ni, baik kita proses untuk guna untuk buat bioethanol. Okay, component of lignocellulosic materials. Basically ada cellulose, hemicellulose and lignin. Okay, so content of these three things, three polymers ni tak sama for each species of plant. So it is differ from between hardwood and softwood. So tengok content dia, cellulose ada 40 to 60%, hemicellulose 20 to 40% and lignin 15 to 25%. So kita boleh tengok kat sini lignin paling luar, cellulose and hemicellulose dekat bahagian dalam. So sebelum kita guna cellulose and hemicellulose untuk buat bioethanol, kita perlu pecahkan dulu lignin supaya enzim dapat attack the cellulose and hemicellulose. Okay, so cara untuk pecahkan lignin kita panggil pre-treatment. Pre-treatment. So cellulose is a linear polymer of glucose. Orientation of linkages and additional hydrogen bonding make the polymer rigid and difficult to break. During hydrolysis, the polysaccharide is broken down into free sugars molecules by the addition of water. This process is also known as saccharification. The product glucose is a 6-carbon sugar, can be fermented to ethanol. And also we have hemicellulose, short highly branched polymer of 5-carbon pentoses and 6-carbon hexoses sugars. So ada xylose, arabinose, galactose, glucose and mannose. Readily hydrolyzed compared to cellulose because its branched and amorphous nature. And lignin is a aromatic polymer synthesis from phenylpropanoid precursors. So the basic chemical phenylpropane units of lignin are bonded together by a set of linkages to form a very complex matrix. The matrix comprises a variety of functional groups which impart a high polarity to the lignin macromolecule. So lignin is the drawback of using lignocellulosic biomass material in fermentation sebab dia keras dekat luar. It makes lignocellulose resistant to chemical and biological degradation. So this is the composition of lignocellulosic material. You guys boleh tengok kat sini. Okay, bioethanol from cellulose made by microbial conversion of biomass material through fermentation. So the step, ada 3 step kat sini. Formation of solution of fermentable sugar, and then fermentation of this sugar to ethanol, and then separation and purification of the ethanol by distillation. Okay. So pre-treatment of lignocellulosic material include hydrothermal procedure, steam explosion, salvation with ethylenidiamine, alkaline peroxide and dilute acid hydrolysis has been used to facilitate saccharification. All such treatment contribute to overall cost of saccharification. Economic and viable pre-treatment process for lignocellulosic material should be investigated. So kita tengok dekat biological pre-treatment So selalunya untuk biological pre-treatment ni kita guna brown, white or soft rot fungi untuk degrade lignin macam saya cakap tadi, and solubilize hemicellulose. So white rot fungi ni selalu kita gunalah sebab dia most effective for pre-treatment. The advantages of biological pre-treatment include low energy requirement and mild environmental condition. However, the rate of hydrolysis is very low sebab kita guna enzyme compared to chemical pre-treatment. Okay. So kenapa kita kena guna pre-treatment ni? Kenapa kita perlu add pre-treatment? Macam saya kata tadi, lignin ni dia keras dekat luar. So kita kena pecahkan untuk mudahkan enzyme attack pada selulose tadi. Okay. Sorry dah Okay, hydrolysis. The carbohydrate polymer in lignocellulosic material need to be converted to simple sugar before fermentation through a process called hydrolysis. The most commonly applied method can be classified into groups: chemical hydrolysis, dilute and concentration acid hydrolysis, and enzymatic hydrolysis. So kita tengok enzymatic hydrolysis slow sebab kita guna enzyme, hindered by structural parameters, lignin, hemicellulose content, surface area, cellulose crystallinity, cost low compared to acid and alkaline hydrolysis, and then currently high yields, improvement are still projected. Environmentally friendly alternative that involves using carbohydrate degrading enzyme to hydrolyze lignocellulose into fermentable sugar. So kita ada cellulase enzyme untuk hydrolyze cellulose. Okay. Cellulose dihasilkan oleh several microorganism commonly by bacteria and fungi. For example, Clostridium, Cellulomonas, Aspergillus and Penicillium. Widely accepted mechanism for enzymatic cellulose involves synergistic action by endogluconase, exogluconase and cellulobiose or beta-glucosidases. Okay, limitation using cellulose is there is reduction in rates due to end product inhibition. Selalunya simultaneous saccharification and fermentation, SSF, overcome this problem lah by hydrolyzing cellulose and fermenting the hydrolysis product at the same time. Hemicellulase, substrate dia xylene. So enzymatic hydrolysis of xylene involve multi-enzyme system including endoxylenase, exoxylenases and etc. So xylenase occurs widely in bacteria and fungi, example Bacillus, Clostridium and Aspergillus species. So kita boleh tengok kat sini mechanism of enzymatic degradation of lignocellulosic material. So kita ada endo-beta-gluconase kat sini, EG, and cellulobiose hydrolase, CBH ni, and then kita boleh tengok dia pecahkan satu-satu, lepas tu dia bertindak bersama-sama kat sini. And jadi glucose. Okay. Okay, fermentation. Traditionally, Saccharomyces cerevisiae enzyme Monas mobilis have been used for bioethanol fermentation. Cerevisiae can easily ferment hexoses but hardly xylose in lignocellulose hydrolysate because it lacks of enzyme that convert xylose to cellulose. Bagaimanapun dia boleh ferment xylulose ni, tapi dia tak kurang enzim untuk convert xylose. Okay, kat sini kita boleh tengok direct utilization of cellulosic substrate into bioethanol. Mula-mula kita ada selulose ni, kita ada enzim hydrolysis akan jadi glukos, lepas tu fermentation by yeast akan jadi etanol. Okay. Okay, that's all for bioethanol. Kita jumpa sekejap lagi untuk biodiesel pula. Okay guys, thank you.